soul family. Welcome to my spiritual awakening channel. My name is Gabby. I would like to speak a little bit about the purpose behind all the trials and tribulations that you face. Now, what that really means is that in life, you constantly face some sort of trauma. You deal with everything from, lack, fear of lack, abuse, grief, losing your job, facing hardships. When these things happen and they consistently happen to you, you should start to really think about the reason why. Start to understand that this is not happening for just any old reason. You're being prepared for something. I used to think that I didn't have any talent. I used to think that I didn't have any skills and that all I was good at was being a good mom. Okay? And you can imagine that being my thing, being a mother. When I became a mother, my whole life changed. And to lose my child is the ultimate trauma for a person who felt as though their purpose was to be a mother or protector. And to not be able to save my child, that would leave you distraught. So after this experience, this was like the last straw for me. I gotta be honest. It made me start this whole channel. It made me change my perspective on life in general. It made me start to, cut off things that was not serving my higher self. And this time in my life, I'm not interested in anything that's not vibrating on the same frequency as me. And once you start to experience these type of traumas, divorce, breakups, domestic violence, molestation, rape, near-death experiences, you name it, all sorts of traumas, okay? You need to turn that trauma around before it turns you around. Trauma can consume you. It can suck out whatever life was left in you. And if you allow it to do that, then you're further away from the mission. We all came here with a soul mission, a plan, a life path, and a life purpose. Once you allow your trauma to push you further away from that, well, honestly, it might be another lifetime for you. I don't know what to tell you, okay? But I do know this, and I will tell you this. For me, turning that trauma into something that I can use as fuel, okay? To ignite me, to fuel me. It inspired me. It gave me the open heart to say, you know what? If I can find an ounce of positivity in the lifestyle that I've led, and if I can still keep my head up high and still try to give back, try to elevate, try to ascend, awaken every day more and more, then anybody can do it. Believe it or not, I feel as though this is my mission. My mission is to reach as many people as possible and express to them in my sincerest way that I can, from my heart, that you can survive anything. The reason being is because there's a saying, God wouldn't put more on you than you can handle. It's very true. We don't ever know what we're capable of until we're in the thick of it, going through it, and pushing past it. Okay? So keep that in mind. The struggles that you're facing, there's a definite purpose behind it. Now, like I said, I didn't believe I had any talent. I used to, from the age of 13, maybe to the age of 22, 23, I used to write poetry on a consistent basis. I considered myself a poet. Now I know that, yes, that's my talent. I love writing poetry, sure. That's just one of them, though. I thought that that was all I had. And when I became a mother, that dwindled away more and more. I started focusing more on parenting and being a mother, okay? And in addition to that, I was also, juggling a very demanding career. So it was difficult to be able to say, well, I can use my creativity and find out what my passions are. I wasn't even in that mindset. But after losing my son, that was the last straw for me. I'm like, in my life, I've experienced so much hardship. I've experienced poverty on a large scale, okay? My mother was on drugs. My father was on drugs. My grandmother got custody of me and my siblings. I've experienced molestation as a child from a family member. I've experienced grief on every possible scale of grief, okay, and loss, trauma, okay? So experiencing all these things throughout my lifetime, had a failed marriage. Now I'm married to husband number 2, but my first marriage, my husband was abusive physically and verbally to me. And financially abuse. Yes, financial abuse. It's a real thing. It's just a lot. And when you experience all those things, you just want to know why. You just ask God, like, why, God? Why me? You know what I mean? But something in me kept saying, you know what, this is preparing me. I'm being prepared. And speaking on camera was something that was always fearful for me. And I'm facing my fear head on. I told myself I'm going to get my ass in front of this camera at least once a day. And I'm going to face this fear until I feel completely and totally comfortable speaking to whoever's watching. I think part of it was releasing the resistance, and not worrying about it and just speaking my truth. Because I feel as though after all that trauma that I experienced, I have a purpose now. That trauma gave me a purpose. And that purpose is to reach out to other people in any way that I can. This will not be the only avenue for me, but this is just the very beginning of my journey. But in any way that I can help and let somebody know that you can come up out of it. You can experience some of the worst things. Anybody experiencing anything. If you can comment in this video and tell me what your biggest fear is, I can guarantee you that you can survive it. Okay? You just have to have the will to. You just have to want to survive. Now, for example, my father was a Vietnam Air Force veteran. His leg was amputated due to complications with diabetes, not from the war. And at any rate, I've witnessed several people, people in my neighborhood, people in, close family circles have amputations. One of my neighbors had all his toes cut off. And he went through a year of physical therapy. And now when he walks, you can barely tell that he has no toes. And he just made it, And he sucked it up and he said, no, this is not the end for me. Okay? So you can have that attitude in the face of trauma and struggle. Or you can have the attitude that my father had when he had to have his toes amputated. Now, what happened with him, rest his soul, my dad loved walking. My dad never had a driver's license. I would offer my dad a ride when I would see him in the neighborhood. I'm like, hey, Dad, good to see you, hugs and kisses. Where you going? Let me take you. And he's like, kid, I'm good. I'm just going to walk. I'm like, walk to where, Dad? And he would be walking like 10 blocks, 15 blocks, and he's happy, You know, have him a beer and a cigarette, he's good to go. I miss you, Dad. But you know, what happened with him was losing those toes caused him to spiral into a deep, dark place that I've never seen him in. For the most part, throughout all his, you know, trials and tribulations, his battle with alcoholism and drug abuse, he still kept an upbeat, positive attitude through all of that. But when he lost those toes, he spiraled into the deepest, darkest place that you can ever go in. And I can remember him sitting in his wheelchair, peeing on himself, not even blinking, and just holding his head down. Not moving, peeing on himself, just saying, I give up. His body language, everything was like, I don't care, I give up. Kill me now, my toes is gone. Like, this was his attitude. Now, if you compare him to, you know, the neighbor in my community who lost his toes, it's like the real difference is just perspective. You know what I'm saying? And the neighbor in my community, he was much older than my dad, believe it or not. And he bounced back. So it's all about perspective when you're dealing with trauma. Eventually, my dad got so deep into depression to where, you know, he stopped taking his meds and the infection spread to his leg, which then was cut off. And then his second leg was about to be amputated, and it was a matter of life and death. And I remember he called me on a Sunday and told me, I love you, kid, but I'm not letting them cut another body part off of me. If it means I gotta go out this way, then it is what it is. Just know I love you. And I said, Dad, I respect your decision. I love you more. Please, you know, rethink this surgery. Please, you know, fight for yourself. And he said, I'm done. I'm done. And, you know, I can remember trying to encourage him and motivate him. But he was done. I sensed it. You know, he said it out his mouth. I felt it. And that whole night, you know, I just grieved him before he even passed. I spoke to him on a Sunday and he died on a Tuesday morning. He had given up. He had skipped his surgery that Monday and they found him dead in the house on Tuesday. So your perspective can literally change your life. It can mean the difference between life and death, okay? Whew, that's emotional. I haven't spoken about that in a while. Give me a minute, y'all. I was a daddy's girl. I really was. I was a total daddy's girl. Me and him always had a special bond. We were 3 days apart. His birthday is February 10th, and mine is February 13th. So, yeah. But at any rate, let me get back on track because this video was going longer than I thought. I literally just want everybody to look at all your struggles, look at all your trauma, all the difficulties that you face from childhood on up. Just accumulate all of it and say, wow, I'm being prepared for greatness. I'm being prepared for my life path, my purpose. I'm a walking example that life exists after all these traumas that I've experienced. So know that you're powerful, know you have talents and gifts, and pull yourself from that trauma. Don't stay in that traumatic, depressed state of mind. Don't be in victim mode. Don't constantly say, you know, don't ask yourself, you know, why me, God, and curse the heavens for everything that you experience. No, get out of that. What you have to do is learn your lessons from those experiences, utilize those experiences to be a walking truth that you can surpass all of the things you've been through and you can still be what you're meant to be. No matter what you went through, you can still be who you're meant to be. You can still align with your divine assignment and find your life path and your purpose and walk in that. You can step into that power. All right? So I appreciate you guys. I truly love having YouTube in my life. You guys have improved the quality of my life in so many ways. And I appreciate you all for watching. I love you all so much. Please like, share, subscribe. More videos will definitely be coming. I'm going to stay active. Follow me on Instagram, Divine8Pioneer. I honestly feel as though I have some other things developing, but I don't want to talk about them just yet. I just want to experience them for myself before I share all these magnificent things with everyone else. But I hope you guys continue on the journey with me in love and light.